So we not only got the reveal of Blast and the confirmation of a few things that came with that, but we also got the confirmation to something that we've been talking about for over a year now, and it was that leaked story information from Murata's live stream from like 2 years ago that I've made like 3 or 4 videos on at this point, and I'll get into that towards the end of this video, but for now, let's just go over everything. Now also, I've already made a video dedicated to the first half of this chapter with the Blast reveal, him talking about the cube, the warping stuff, Saitama Flashy Flash, all of that stuff, so you can check out that video from before if you would like to hear my thoughts on that stuff. But now we're picking back up with Tatsumaki having like that huge spear, because at this point she's about to put the finishing touches on Orochi. And then we see Child Emperor like starting to have a breakdown when he's like, it was my fault that we struggled so much. Silver Fang and Demon Cyborg are powerful allies, but because of my misapprehensions, I left them off the team. This is referring to before they raided the Monster Association. Child Emperor was talking to Second Gar, and they were basically discussing like who should be a part of this strike team and who should be left off of it. And the 2 main candidates were Genos and Silver Fang. Silver Fang because they thought that he was compromised because of his relationship with Garou, them being former student and teacher. So they thought that Garou escaping from Bang in chapter 84 meant that it would probably just happen again here, so it would be a liability to bring Bang along, considering that Garou was going to be one of the main adversaries in this strike. However, their reasoning for leaving Genos off the team was because Child Emperor thought that he was suspicious because he lived in Z City, and that his backstory, you know, about how his town was destroyed and he was the only one that survived, just made him seem like he was untrustworthy. And also the seed was kind of planted by Metal Knight telling him to not like trust anyone. Then Child Emperor, going further into this existential crisis breakdown thing, starts to suggest that Zombie Man should take over as the leader of this strike team here, saying that he's more thoughtful and much better judge of character than he is. But then Amai Mask interjects and he's like, you really think a pseudo monster would be able to lead a team of heroes? Our leader has to be the ideal human. So I like that My Mask says this because that's always been my thoughts on Zombie Man. I think I've maybe verbatim have called him a pseudo monster in multiple videos because technically he is a monster, at least according to the definition that Dr. Genus gives us in chapter 88. Because when he explains what causes monsters, he further says, there are also those whose cell mutations are triggered by environmental factors, as well as those like my research specimens who became monsters through the power of science. And as most of us know by now, Zombie Man is one of Dr. Genus's research specimens. But when My Mask says that our leader has to be an ideal human, this is kind of laying the groundwork for a future storyline that is going to happen. But then Zombie Man kind of shakes off the offer and reassures Child Emperor by saying, for now you've made a big step in the right direction just by acknowledging that you need to improve your judgment of character, you know, making an effort to understand others is the most important part. We're all human after all. So aside from the nuance behind what he's saying here, I guess it's just further building the relationship between Child Emperor and Zombie Man, which I can't even talk about in this video, but you know, take for it what you will. But then out of nowhere, Homeless Emperor reemerges from the rubble and like shoots multiple energy blasts at Zombie Man and like eviscerates him. It's so graphic, I don't even want to show the panel here. And then Homeless Emperor is like, what part of you is human? So yeah, this is awesome. Super hyped that the Cadres are back. Don't forget that they didn't die, or it wasn't shown that they died. They pretty much for the most part won their individual battles, but they were kind of just lost in the rubble after Tatsumaki pulled the entire Monster Association base out of the ground. So I guess they were just kind of in a similar situation to like Saitama and Flashy Flash. But then we're coming to the ending sequence of the chapter where Tatsumaki finally decides to throw the huge psychic spear thing down into Orochi and just drills all the way into the ground, taking him down with it. And it goes extremely deep, and I'm pretty sure the end result here is Orochi finally being dead. Like, it certainly looks like this is the end of him. So yeah, I guess Orochi has finally been defeated, and the notes that I'm gonna go over is more or less going to confirm that, I suppose. But before we get into that, of course, I need to talk about this altar staircase pyramid thing that we see in the background. So yeah, there's like this weird thing here, and I'm sure a lot of us probably see what's going on with this. So as I talked about in my previous review, on the volume 23 table of contents, there was like this little Easter egg with like this caricature of the Monster Association that Murata drew that showed like this portion of the Monster Association that had the cube, the God cube or the God box on top of what seemed to be like the Ark of the Covenant. And it was also accompanied by like Egyptian iconography. So I think this is matching up with that and kind of confirming that God possibly, you know, was existing back in the Egyptian times as well. Because there's like these hieroglyphics on the wall of like, you know, seemingly these people look like worshiping some kind of being. Now, this being that's pictured here doesn't exactly look like God. It kind of looks Lovecraftian in a way, as many have pointed out. But I'm sure this has something to do with God. If this is not directly God, maybe it's one of his forms or something, or maybe it's how he chose to appear before them. And also the cover page implies that, you know, multiple of these cubes have been found by just random people. Like maybe there was one found in space by like an astronaut, and then there was possibly one that was found in the deep sea by like some deep sea diver or something. And that brings up a fun little theory that could explain the origin of like the sea folk, you know, like deep sea king and stuff maybe. But anyway, it seems more likely than ever that the Egyptians or the Egyptian equivalent within the One Punch Man world found one of these cubes like, you know, thousands of years ago possibly. But now let's get into those leaked notes from 2 years ago, because nearly everything comes to fruition here except for a few things which have been altered, but it states that it was probably going to be the case anyway. So it says the original plan was Orochi swings at the S-Class heroes with his monstrous strength. However, the S-Class heroes dodge and toy with him mercilessly with their speed and give the feeling that Orochi is just a boss that possesses nothing but pure strength and size. Orochi's horns transform into dragons and spit fire to the S-Class heroes, and Orochi transforms into a huge monster. 8 S-Class heroes fight together, where each of them deals with and defeats one of the dragons, while Tatsumaki finishes off Orochi directly. Just when everyone believes the fight is over, the executives who were originally buried by Tatsumaki appear on the surface. So Orochi becoming the dragon and spitting fire, that didn't happen. Goes back to saying the original plan. Obviously that has altered, and now they just decided to go in the direction of Sairochi, you know, being the big thing that they fight. And in chapter 38, we saw about, you know, more or less 8 of the heroes fight against Orochi. And, you know, as I said in this chapter, Tatsumaki is straight up directly finishing off Orochi. And then, you know, Homeless Emperor, who is a Cadre executive, appears on the surface. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. It, you know, finally turned out to be true. But that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. If you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.